webinar today where we're going to dive in and talk about how you can get business credit for your business EIN number that's not linked to your personal Social Security number. And we're also going to decode how you can easily get business loans and credit lines to grow your business, even when you think you can't qualify for financing at your bank. So let's talk about what we're going to dive into today. Today, we're going to talk about how you can immediately get initial business credit that's linked to your business EIN number and not your personal Social Security number. This is credit you can get even as a startup, even if you have credit issues. You don't need to verify revenue or cash flow, and you don't need collateral to get approved either. We're then going to talk about how you can use this initial credit that you set up and start getting access to credit at major sources like Walmart and Amazon and Office Depot and Staples, Dell and Apple, Lowe's and Home Depot, even get auto vehicle financing at Ford, get credit at places like Best Buy, Sprint, Sears, Conoco, Costco, and on and on and on. Even how to get Visa cards, MasterCards, American Express, and more, all in your business name, all without a personal guarantee and without a personal credit check. We're also going to talk about how this business credit can help you get loans even when banks say no, by exposing you to all different kind of financing you can get right now based on different factors that make it really easy for you to get approved. So even if you don't have collateral, even if you're a startup, even if you have credit issues, we're going to talk about how you can still access loans and credit lines. Now, before we jump in, let's kind of address the elephant in the room. Look, most people that try to get money to grow their business end up failing to do so, and there's several reasons this happens. Firstly, a lot of business owners still believe that the bank is the best place to go to get money, and as you'll learn today, that's just not the case. Over 98% of business financing now comes from what are known as alternative lenders. And today we're going to map that out. We're going to map out how there's not actually a problem getting money. There's a ton of money available for business owners. The key is to know where to go to get the money. And we're going to decode that today. We're going to talk about a lot of options that just are not offered at conventional banks that make it easy for you to qualify and get a loan or a credit line, even if you have credit issues, or you don't have collateral, or even if you are just in the startup phase. A lot of people don't know that business credit even exists. A lot of people don't realize that your EIN has its own credit profile and score that you can get approved for separate from your personal credit. You can get this regardless of personal credit quality. As a matter of fact, today we're going to talk about how you can get business credit without even providing your Social Security number. And that means there won't be a credit pull, there won't be a liability. Again, a lot of people don't even know that this is possible, which is one of the reasons that they never attempt to actually build business credit and why they fail to get capital, because they don't focus on building their business credit. We're going to fix that today and teach you how this whole process works so you can be successful. A lot of other people don't understand that business credit building is a process. People that do know that business credit exists, which Entrepreneur says about 90% of business owners really don't know anything about business credit. But of those that do, a lot of them don't know that it's a process. It's a proper sequence of steps you must follow to succeed. Well, today we're going to decode that. We're going to map out these steps in order and give you an overview of what the process looks like. You're even going to see the exact same system that's helped over 10,000 people build business credit successfully. So again, you'll understand the process and know what it takes to succeed and overcome the obstacle that so many other people can't overcome when they fail to build business credit. And a lot of entrepreneurs don't know that money's available based on your business strengths. Even when you can't get money at your bank, there's still a lot of other financing that's out there based on only one variable, one aspect of your business that you can use to get approved. We're going to talk about these different ways you can get approved, how you can get loans, how you can get credit lines, how you can do both with interest rates even less than 5%, even less than 2% in some cases. So by the end of this, you're going to know how to be able to get all different kind of financing, how to be able to build business credit for your EIN that's not linked to your Social Security number by following that proper steps, the proper sequence. So if you're looking for money to start or grow a business, you're in the right place. That's exactly what we're going to cover today. This webinar is definitely for you. It's also for you if you're looking for high limit credit accounts that are linked to, that aren't linked to your social, that are linked to your EIN, that you can get approved for regardless of personal credit. Look, even if you have great personal credit, this still makes a lot of sense because the amount of money that you're able to get from lenders and the rates and terms you'll pay, and whether you get approved or declined, are often based on business credit quality. So by building business credit, it helps you get even more money for your business. And we're going to talk about how you can separate your guarantee today, so you're not personally liable for this credit that you're obtaining in your business name. And if you're also looking for the easiest and fastest way to get the most amount of money for your business, well, this webinar is definitely for you, because we're going to decode both aspects of the funding system. We're going to talk about credit, revolving credit, and how to get lots of credit very quickly for your business. We're also going to talk about the other side, the financing side, the loans and the credit lines for your business. And we're going to talk about options that can get you money literally even within 24 hours, and other options that you can get financing in 48 to 72 hours. So we're going to talk about easy ways to be able to access capital and quick ways to access capital, again, even if you're in a startup phase. And if you're looking to get credit lines and loans, then again, you're definitely in the right place, because we're going to talk about a bunch of different lenders and a bunch of different programs that makes this easy for you to obtain. You know, the issue with business owners being able to obtain credit lines and loans is most don't know where to go to look. They don't know what's out there, so they don't even have an idea of what to go searching for. Well, we're going to decode all this today. We're going to look at what is out there, what it takes to get approved for each different kind of financing. It's much easier than you think it may be, and this way it'll lay a path for you to be able to easily get credit lines and loans. And many of these things you're going to be able to start accomplishing the minute we're done with the webinar today, if you stay through the entirety of the event. So let's dive in at the beginning. Let's talk first about business credit. What is business credit? Well, when we're talking about business credit, we're ultimately talking about credit that's in a business's name. And this is based on the business building its own credit profile under its EIN number. So you're obviously familiar with consumer credit, where you have a credit profile and score that's linked to your social security number. Well, your business can establish its own credit profile and score that's linked to that business EIN number. Now, this is credit that's in the business's name, and it's based on the business's ability to pay, not you as the business owner. So this is how you can get approved without providing a social security number, without providing a personal credit check, because we're going to establish a credit profile and score for your business, so your business itself can start qualifying for more credit and financing without you needing to provide a personal social or guarantee to do so. Now, once you start to build business credit, then you're able to get high limit revolving accounts. I mean, we're going to talk about today, and you'll even see real examples of people getting $15, $20, $30, $40, $50, even $75,000 individual limit accounts on credit cards at places like Office Depot and Staples and Home Depot and Lowe's and Sam's Club and Costco and Dell and Apple and BP, Chevron, Sunoco, Walmart, even MasterCard, Visa, American Express cards, even auto vehicle financing, all is available without a personal guarantee and without a personal credit check once you start to establish the business credit, which again, we're going to show you how to do in today's webinar. Now, the business becomes more lendable as a result, providing easy access to credit lines and loans. We're going to look at real commercial credit reports today. We're going to show you commercial credit reports that are bad and why people are not able to get money based on those profiles, all the way to people that are able to get hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars based on really well-established business credit profiles. And you're going to see along the way how in establishing business credit, you become more lendable. It gives you easier access to credit lines and loans as you continue to grow. So there's a lot of benefits you should know about business credit. One is that it has no effect on personal credit. There's no adverse impact on your consumer credit scores. This is very important. The majority of business owners use personal credit cards to try to fund their business. The problem is that personal credit cards weren't designed to fund a business. So when you do this, first of all, you're putting inquiries on your credit report, which adversely affects 10% of your score. But even worse than that, 30% of your consumer FICO scores based on a factor called utilization, which means as you put balances on your credit cards, you lower your consumer FICO score. So again, when you're trying to use personal credit cards to fund your business, you can really drop your credit score significantly, because a third of your overall credit score is based on the balances you have on those credit cards. So with business credit, you're building credit in the business name. There are no inquiries because there's no credit check to get approved, and this credit reports on your business credit reports instead of your consumer. So you could even max these credit cards out and have no adverse impact on your consumer credit scores. Now, there's also no consumer credit check to get approved. So even if you do have consumer credit issues, you're still able to come come in and get the $20, $30, $40,000 or higher limit cards within months that we're talking about today. Because again, since there's no personal credit check, then your personal credit quality doesn't matter. But even if you do have good personal credit, and you really care about your score, and you've worked hard to get that 6, 7, 800 score, well then in those cases, you're going to be able to maintain those scores because again, you're not going to have this credit reporting on your consumer reports, and there's not going to be inquiries on your credit reports either. Now, there's also no personally guaranteed supply. This is where SBA and Inc. and NASDAQ and Fortune and Forbes and almost every financial authority in the business space references the importance of separating consumer and commercial credit for this reason. So you're not personally liable for what happens in your business. It really creates an environment where your business can fund itself without needing you to personally guarantee. So this means you're not personally liable for the credit you obtain. If you obtain a $30,000 Amazon credit card and anything happens that's unexpected and you default on that, well, they can't sue you personally. They can only come after the business and the business assets. So this guarantee is very important to help make sure that you and your family's finances stay safe and secured and are separate from what's going on with the liabilities and the debts within the business. You can also build business credit very fast. As a matter of fact, we're going to talk today about how you can immediately build credit. I mean, the minute you're done with this webinar, you're going to be able to obtain initial vendor credit, and then we're going to talk about a fast path for you to start getting store credit and fleet credit cards and Visa cards and MasterCards, cash type credit, even auto vehicle financing. And anybody can see your business credit reports, which is why this is important. You know, unlike consumer credit, where somebody has to have your permission to pull your credit report, in the business world, anybody can pull it. You know, so your competitors, your prospects, your clients, as well as suppliers and potential investors and anybody that wants to buy your business, everybody can easily access your business credit report. It's public information. So because it's so easily accessible by anybody that wants it, it becomes really important that you focus on building it so you can control the perception that all these people and companies have about your business. Now, business credit also gives you greater borrowing ability because you can still keep the consumer credit you have, and you're also building commercial credit. So for example, if you go into Staples today and you get a consumer credit card with them, you can't go into Staples tomorrow and get another one because you already have one. But you can go into Staples today, get a consumer credit card, and then you can go into Staples tomorrow and get a commercial credit card, which gives you more than double the borrowing ability because you'll have consumer credit and you'll have commercial credit. So it gives you significantly greater borrowing ability. And this credit that you get on the commercial side is substantially higher limit credit cards than what you're used to in the consumer side. As a matter of fact, per SBA, the limits on business credit accounts are 10 to 100 times higher than consumer credit. As a matter of fact, it may seem crazy to be able to get $10 or $20 or $30,000 limit credit cards within 60 or 90 days. But if you think about it, it makes a lot of sense. You may never need to spend $20,000 at Dell on home computers, but you easily could need to spend $20,000 at Dell on business computers to fill an office. Businesses have a much greater appetite for credit than individuals do. This is why limits on commercial and business credit accounts are so high compared to consumer credit accounts. And again, it's really fast to get those high limit accounts as well. Another huge benefit is that with business credit, you can get approved even when you can't get a bank loan or any other kind of alternative financing. So usually to get a bank loan or some kind of loan or credit line, you need some kind of lendable merit. Maybe it's collateral, maybe it's cash flow, maybe it's credit. But with business credit, you can get it even if you have no cash flow, even if you're just starting your business, even if you have bad personal credit, even if you don't have collateral or want to pledge collateral. In circumstances where there's no way to get a bank loan, you're still able to get business credit even when you can't get a bank loan. And again, as I'm going to show you in a second, if you can get a bank loan, well then it even helps you get better terms on the bank loans you are able to secure. So it gives you access to loans and credit lines, means you can fund your business using your profits to grow. This is a sign of a healthy business. A healthy business, per the experts, is a business that can fund itself, where it doesn't need your personal credit, where it doesn't need your personal injection of money into the business to grow. So by getting business credit, by getting financing, well then you have money to pay for some of the things you need so your business can start supporting its own growth, and so you don't have to support it as an individual, which obviously gives you a huge competitive advantage. Because when you have access to money, you have a huge competitive advantage to people in your same industry that don't have have that kind of access. Now, as I just mentioned, business credit also will determine three aspects of getting loans. One, whether you'll get approved or denied for business loans. Two, how much you'll get approved for. And three, the actual terms you'll pay, the interest rates, the terms that you'll pay on the financing you secure. You can easily be denied financing based on business credit quality. Even if you have no business credit established, you can still be denied. And I'm going to show you this actually right now when actual commercial credit reports. So let's dive in and take a look and see what this looks like. First of all, you need to know that Equifax and Experian, for example, will give you a failing business credit score even if you have no credit reporting, because that makes you look unestablished. Sometimes if you've been in business a long time or even a few years, it could make you look like you're even on the verge of filing bankruptcy because you don't have credit established. So just the fact that you exist as a business and don't have credit automatically categorizes you as a high-risk industry, as a high-risk business. And here you can see what this looks like. So here's a snapshot from an Experian commercial credit report. You can see the score's a 28. Now, Intellis score ranges from 0 to 100. Most business credit scores do, with 100 being the best, the highest score you can get, and with 0 being the lowest or the worst credit score you can get. So in this case, we're looking at a 28 score, which, as you can see, when it comes to risk, is very, very, very high risk. These are all snapshots from the same commercial credit report. We can see that the factors lowering the score are a lack of active trade lines, and we can see here that the risk is about as high of a risk as you can get. We also see a summary here of somebody that has absolutely no trade lines. There's no trade lines, there's no accounts on the credit report at all, but yet the reporting agency has still come in and populated a report, given a failing score to the business, put them into a high risk category, and now this prevents the business from being able to get credit cards, loans, and credit lines from a lot of the conventional banks that are out there. Even alternative lenders would deny this customer in a lot of cases if they're pulling business credit because they see the business as high risk. We're not used to this. In the consumer world, you have to have bad credit to be given a bad credit score. In the business world, you will be given a bad credit score even if you have no credit, if the reporting agencies actually know you exist, including Experian and Equifax. Now, what's nice is, and again, what's nice about this is that even with one account reporting, which you'll be able to get immediately after this webinar, you can go from a failing score to a great score very, very, very quickly, which helps you become more lendable. So let's take a look and see what this looks like. So here's a company that has a 96 score. Remember, the score ranges from 0 to 100, with 100 being the best. So this is a great score. We can see here that it's low risk. So instead of what we just saw, now we're seeing a credit profile that goes all the way from a high risk category all the way to a low risk category. And we can see that the only reason that they're not a perfect 100 score is because Experian saying here the average age of the accounts, meaning this is a pretty new credit profile and the person still has an excellent score and has become low risk. And what's interesting is this is only because they have one account. So unlike the report we just looked at where somebody had a failing score with no accounts, this person has come in and got only one account. You can see the recent amount of credit they've used is less than $100. And because they got one account and used less than $100 on the account, they are now a 96 score. Here, you can see what their score, how their score has actually changed. You can see they used to have that same 28 score we just looked at, but because they got this one account added, they shot all the way up to a 93, whereas now they're actually even a 96. So this is how commercial credit reports work. You can be issued a failing score even when you have no credit reporting, just because you have no credit reporting. But even with one account being added, it automatically raises your score significantly if you paid the bill as agreed. That's what determines the score, and that automatically moves you from nearly as high risk as you can get to as nearly low risk as you can get. And this obviously goes a long way when credit issuers, when lenders are seeing these difference between credit profiles from bad to good. So you can see that even one account can get you to this level. Now, as you continue to grow your credit, the business reporting agencies will recommend you for more and more money. And this helps you get higher and higher approvals on business credit cards, loans, and credit lines. This is where your business credit determines the amount of money that you may be lent or given in a credit line or given in a credit card. So we already saw this example in the beginning, that 28 score, and we see this credit recommendation right here at the bottom. of $1,000. We also looked at this other person where we can see that just one account on their report shot them up to a 96 score. And again, now they're here at a recommendation of $2,500. Well, here's another example of somebody with a 27 score. They're not even paying their bills as agreed, and they're still being recommended for $7,000, nearly $6,900, because they only have two accounts on their credit report. So even with two accounts on their credit report, and even with a 27 score, a bad score, they're still they're still increasing and going up, being recommended for more credit. Here's somebody that's recommended for $15,600, and they actually have three accounts on their credit report. So the more accounts we're adding to your business credit reports, the more history that the reporting agencies have. They like to have more accounts, and because they have more accounts, they start recommending you for more and more credit. And you can see here the recent high credit used is still $100 with one, and it's even zero with the others, and they're still being recommended for nearly 16 grand. Here's somebody that's being recommended for $65,600. Okay, and when you look at their credit report, we see they have four. They have 1, 2, 3, and a fourth one down here. Now we can see that they're starting to get approved and even use higher amounts of credit, 26,000, 100,000. So this is the difference. Now as the credit profile starts to build, you get the ability to start obtaining loans and credit lines, 26,000, 100,000 as the credit continues to grow. Here's a company that has $724,000 in recommended credit, and you can see how many trade lines they have. This is the progression of what business credit looks like. Now, a lot of people think that you have to be a really big company to get business credit, but as you just saw, that's not the case. What happens is you just need to start adding more accounts to your business credit reports, and if you pay your bills on time, you get good scores, and the more you pay your bills on time and the more accounts you continue to get that get reported on your business credit reports, the more credit you're extended, because the higher amount of recommended credit is being or the amount of credit is being recommended by the reporting agencies. And by the way, even though we've only looked at Experian snapshots, Experian, Equifax, and Dun & Bradstreet all have exactly the same system for recommending you for credit. So it's important to know that every highly successful business in the United States has business credit. A lot of people think that you have to be big to get business credit. Well, that's not the case at all, but you do have to have business credit to actually get big. So as we take a look here at companies like Facebook, we see they have 40 trade lines on their commercial credit reports with Experian. We can see that Dell has 83, and Microsoft, who's been around much longer, since the 70s, has 131, and so does Apple. Apple has about the same, 138, because they've been around since the 70s. Now, if we think about this, think about how many accounts you have on your credit report right now, total. Your mortgage, maybe if you have one, maybe an auto loan, credit cards. If you add all those up, think about how many 138 trade lines is. So a lot of people think that Apple is lent money by lenders and credit issuers because they're Apple, but that's not the case. What's happening is lenders and credit issuers lend money to Apple because they pull their business credit reports just like we just showed, and they're seeing all these trade lines on it with payment history. So again, we just looked at a credit report that had like 15 trade lines, and the company was recommended for $724,000 in credit. So you can imagine what a credit report with 130 plus trade lines looks like, and how much credit that companies like Apple are being recommended for. Here's Pilot Flying J with 153 trades, Publix with 171, and Walmart with 513 trades. So Walmart has more than Apple and Dell and Microsoft combined. The reason for that is because Apple uses business credit to buy 80% of what they sell. For example, if you go to Walmart to buy Bounty paper towels, what's happened is Walmart has went to Bounty, used business credit to buy those paper towels. They put them on their shelf, and then you come in and buy the paper towels and give Walmart money. Walmart takes your money and they use it to pay off the credit that they used to borrow and get the money for the paper towels. They do this with 80% of what they sell. 80% of what Walmart sells, they actually buy on credit, and then you buy it and you pay for it before they've even even paid for it. So because of this, because they're so good at using other people's money, this is how they've become the #1 retailer in the world. And this is my goal for you in this webinar, to get you access to as much credit and as much financing as possible so you can get as good as these big guys at using other people's money to grow and grow at a faster pace. Well, here's Mars Incorporated. They make Mars bars with 22 trade lines. And here's another company that just started building business credit with us that already has 8 trade lines. So they already have a third as many as the Mars Corporation does. Here's another company that's built business credit less than a year and has 14 trade lines. This is nearly 70% as many trade lines as the Mars Corporation has. So again, it's not that you have to be big to build business credit. Any company can build business credit. It just comes down to knowing the steps that we're going to talk about in today's webinar to know how to do so. So how do you do this? How do you accomplish these results? How do you go from having no credit score or bad credit scores to great credit scores and lots of trade lines to become more lendable? Well, that's exactly what we're going to dive into and map out. Now, we just looked at the samples. We just looked at an idea, a quick look of the 14 trades they had when they first started to build business credit. And here's a little bit from them about their actual experience. We went to our bank to get a business line of credit and they turned us down. We got started with the finance suite, set up our business credibly, and built our business credit. After following the steps, we've now secured over 96,000 in business credit cards and just applied for the Platinum American Express and got approved instantly with no credit limit. Now we have 4 to 5 different companies call us every day trying to give us money, and that's a really good problem to have. We're excited. If you don't have business credit, you should get involved with the finance suite to have the same results we have. So the samples are a perfect example. They came in, they started a business, and unfortunately what happened was they put money into what they thought was a sure thing marketing strategy that flopped. So then they needed money to grow the business. They discovered business credit. They used initial vendor credit accounts, which I'm going to show you how to get here in just a few minutes. They bought bandit signs, yard signs. They had marketing flyers printed. They used that to get their first customers. As they fixed some of these credibility issues they didn't even know they had, it opened up the door to get loans, and they've continued to build more and more credit, now getting to a point where they're over about $250,000 in business credit that's available to them. So a perfect success story, and the same kind of success you can have following the same steps that they followed. So the very first step they followed was to dive in here and build business credibility, and it's the essential step to even take before you even think about getting loans, credit lines, or credit cards, because credit issuers and lenders have a secret set of standards that you must meet. Now, you can't go online and find their set of standards, but you know they have them because you've applied for credit cards before and you've discovered one of 2 outcomes. The first outcome was that you applied for credit and got an immediate approval. Sometimes they even tell you what your limit is right there on the spot. Well, you know that that's actually happening automatically. You know somebody's not manually underwriting your application that quickly. That's because you met the standards that they have, and because you met the standards, you got an instant approval. Now, you've probably seen the other side as well. You probably went to apply for credit and received that dreaded message that you'll hear by mail in 7 to 10 days. And of course, the mail that you get usually tells you the reason that you were declined. Well, that's because you didn't meet the requirements the credit issuers or lenders have. So the first step of getting any kind of money is to know and accept that there is this secret unpublished set of standards you must meet, and if you meet them, then that's the key to getting approved. Okay, that's the key to not just getting approved, but also getting automated approvals where you're instantly getting $10, $20, $30, $40,000 limit credit cards because you meet the requirements that are needed to be able to get those kind of limits. So if you don't meet the standards, you'll oftentimes get that dreaded denial message, that dreaded message that you'll hear by mail, and that mail determines and actually will tell you that you got denied. Now, in the business credit world, you may not even hear by mail because unlike in the consumer world, they don't need to tell you. In the consumer world, there's a law called the Fair Credit Reporting Act, which says they have to tell you that you were denied and why you're denied. That doesn't exist in the business world. So because of this, a lot of people apply for credit. A lot of people apply for loans and credit lines, get denied, and never know why, but it really comes down to not meeting one of these standards. So you've got to make sure that you set up this business credibly before you even start applying for any kind of business credit and financing. And it starts with your entity. Any entity can build business credit, even a sole proprietorship or a partnership. The problem is a sole proprietorship and a partnership, you are the business. You and the business are one and the same. So you're always going to be liable for what happens in the business. If the business gets sued, sued, you can get sued. But if you choose a corporation or LLC, you and the business are separate, and you can also separate your liability as well. So if the business were ever to get sued, you can't get sued, and that means if you were ever to default on credit, you literally separate that liability because you and the business aren't the same. But you've got to at least take the first step of setting up an entity. You have to have an entity to start building business credit. Now, you also want to stay away from names that reflect that you're in a high-risk industry. And here, a little bit later in this webinar, I'm going to show you how to access a list of high-risk industries so you can avoid names that indicate that you're in one. Because if your name indicates you're in a high-risk industry, that'll automatically throw up a red flag in these automated computer systems that credit issuers have, which can help lead to a denial. So you also need to get your free EIN number. Your EIN number is free. I'll show you a little bit later even how to obtain that EIN number. And the EIN number is what the business credit's built under. A lot of people think business credit's built under a DUNS number from Dun & Bradstreet. We will talk to you in a few minutes about how to get a DUNS number, but that doesn't mean that that's what business credit's built under. It's actually built under your EIN number. So you have to have that entity. You have to have that EIN number before you could even start building business credit. You maybe need licensing as well, based on your industry, based on your state, based on your county. You need to make sure you have the licensing that you need to operate legally. You also need to make sure that all your online listings have the same information as what's on your application. Everything must be congruent. So what happens is this is one of the #1 reasons that loans get denied at banks, and people have no idea why. The reason is because the name, the address, the information you're putting on your application when you apply is not exactly the same as what the lender is finding online at places like your Secretary of State records. So you need to make sure that your bank statements, your Google, your Bing, your Yahoo listings, that everything that you have matches exactly. What's on your application should be the same name and address that's on your bank statements. The bank statements name and address should be exactly the same as what's on your Secretary of State records. That should be the same as what you find on Yahoo or Bing or Google or any other place that somebody may search online. Okay, so you've got to make sure that that information is consistent, or otherwise you'll oftentimes get denied. You also need a professional email address and a website. You don't want to use Yahoo email addresses. You don't want to use a Gmail address. So the way to think of this is that every item on an application becomes very important and is looked at to determine if you are a legitimate business or not. So look, there's a lot of different types of people out there. There's people that just set up a business and never actually do anything with it. There's people that set up a business and run across a problem and immediately cave and give up. There are people that run, businesses that are quickly successful from the beginning. Lenders and credit issuers don't know which one of these you are. So what they're looking at is they're scrutinizing your application to make sure that every line item that you fill out on that application reflects that you're a legitimate, credible business. So for example, if you're using partydude2010 at Yahoo as your email address, that's obviously not a professional email address. If you're using your name at yourcompany.com, well, that is a professional email address. If you're Joe at abccompany.com, well, that is a professional email address. You don't want them to go and look and see online. They will do research and they can't even find your website. They want to be able to find your website and your website clearly reflect what you do. These things become very important when it comes to establishing credibility with lenders and credit issuers. Now, you also should have a physical business address, but a lot of businesses run virtually. A lot of businesses run from home. So if that's the case, you want to consider getting a virtual address. And we'll talk to you a little bit later in this webinar about steps to take to do that. A virtual address is basically where you rent a mailing address. Instead of you renting an office building or office space, you're just renting the address to be able to get mail at. So you can use, the address of a building in downtown Dallas, Texas, for example, which really makes you look credible versus using a home address. Now, you can use a home address, but there are some credit issuers that will not approve you based on a home address. So for example, you can get a Staples, you can get an Office Depot credit card for your business without a personal guarantee and credit check based on your EIN credit only with a home address. But you can't get Walmart. Walmart would deny you even though Staples and Office Depot will approve you. So if you use a home address, you should know there's some credit you'll never be able to get because they won't accept you with the home address, but a lot of credit issuers still will give you credit. What you can never do is use a UPS address or a PO box address. And the reason for this is because credit issuers and lenders have a database they keep of all UPS and PO box addresses. Their computers cross-reference that database. If they pick up that you're using one, you'll automatically get denied. And what's interesting is you may never know why. You're out there trying to apply for loans, credit cards, and credit lines, and you don't even realize it's because you're using a UPS address. Well, that can easily prevent you from getting denied. Never use a UPS or PO box address. Use a business address if you can, a virtual address if you can't, a home address at last resort. You also need to make sure that you have a business phone number. Never use a mobile phone or a cell phone on an application. The phone number should be toll free as well. You also want to get a fax number, and you've got to get that phone number listed with 411. Now, believe it or not, that's not easy to do. Organically and through time, 411 will know you exist. They will find listings at places like Google online for your business, and they will automatically list you with 411. But that could take months or sometimes years. And if you don't want to wait months or years to start accessing capital and building business credit, then you need to expedite that. And then in that case, you have to usually go out and pay a service. There's companies like List Yourself or Yext that will do this for you, but Yext will cost $500 to $1,000 a year. List Yourself will cost about $360 a year to be able to get listed. So I'm going to show you a way to get listed for free with 411 as we progress to the webinar, but you need to make sure you do this. When it comes to getting initial business credit accounts, two of the primary things they look for is, do you have an entity and EIN, and are you listed with 411? If you meet just those requirements, you'll even be able to get approved, but if you don't, then you'll run into all kinds of issues as you start to build your business credit. So you need to set up the business credibly. The great news is you only need to do this once. Once you've set up the business credibly, then you have the buildable foundation to be able to start obtaining loans, credit lines, and credit cards. So the next step is that you want to get set up with the business credit reporting agencies. Okay, you want to first see if they know anything about you now, and you already know why. Because remember, as we looked at with Equifax and Experian, you can be issued a failing credit score even if you have no credit. Well, you need to see if that's you or not, and the only way for you to do that is to come in and do a search with each one of the reporting agencies to see if they know you exist now. And again, later in this webinar, I'm going to show you exactly how to do a free search with Experian, Equifax Commercial, and Dun & Bradstreet at absolute no cost so you can see if they know you exist now. Now, the next thing you want to do is get your DUNS number with Dun & Bradstreet. Now, you can get a free DUNS number with Dun & Bradstreet, but if you ever talk to Dun & Bradstreet, they will try to sell you a package that's about $1,500 to $2,000 that includes your DUNS number, credit activation, and some other things they will absolutely tell you are necessary to have. So again, you need to get the DUNS number. We want you to avoid paying the $1,500 to $2,000. So later in this webinar, I'm going to show you how to get your DUNS number for free and in one click, and I'm also going to show you how to be able to come in and get your credit profile activated for Dun & Bradstreet so you don't have to pay the thousands of dollars that they may charge. You also want to fix any inaccuracies on your credit report. There's oftentimes maybe inaccuracies or derogatory items on your credit report that you don't recognize or you don't believe to be accurate. In those cases, you want to fix those inaccuracies before you start building business credit, because again, you don't want to build business credit on top of a broken business credit profile that already has bad scores. And again, later in this webinar, I'll show you how to easily fix business credit with all three of the main commercial reporting agencies. So now that we've gone through the steps, now it's time to start building initial business credit. Now, just like with consumer credit, you can't get credit for your business unless you have some kind of initial business credit profile and score established. So for example, you can't walk into Staples today and get a consumer credit card if you have absolutely no consumer credit. But if you walk into Staples with 3 accounts on your consumer credit reports, you'd get approved if you have a good score because you paid those bills as a grade. Same thing in the commercial world. You can't walk into Staples and get business credit accounts when you have a business credit card when you have no business credit on your credit report. But if you walk into Staples with 5 accounts on your business credit report, then you do have the ability to get approved. So the key is that we need to establish initial business credit for you, and that initial business credit is what's then used to start qualifying for other kind of credit, like credit at most major retailers or most stores. So there's actually 3 ways you can get these initial trade lines. Now, the first way is you can pay that $1,500 to $2,000 for Dun & Bradstreet's Credit Builder program. This will activate your credit profile. It will get you your DUNS number. Again, things I'm going to show you how to do without paying that $1,500 as we progress into this webinar. But the problem with D&B's Credit Builder, there's really a couple that you should know about. One, you're only building credit with D&B. So if you pay this money, you're still going to have to go with one of the other two ways that I'm going to show you to build initial credit, because you can't just build credit with Dun & Bradstreet. Think about that in the consumer world. If you only ever built your TransUnion credit report as a consumer and never built Equifax or Experian, it would be really problematic. All the credit issuers that look at Experian and Equifax would deny you when you apply. You'd never be able to get a mortgage because you need to have two. They average 2 of your 3 scores. You'd only have 1. Your ability to get car loans, your ability to get any kind of loan or credit card would really be hindered because you don't have actual credit with all 3 reporting agencies. It's the same in the commercial world. You can never just build credit with DMB. You need to build it with Equifax, Experian, and DMB. Since Credit Builder only builds it with DMB, you're spending thousands of dollars only building one when you still have to build out the other. The other problem with DMB is that their Credit Builder doesn't allow you to add a lot of accounts on to your Dun & Bradstreet credit reports. You can't add credit cards. You can't add credit from banks. You can't add your rent. You can't add utility payments. So when you look at all the types of credit you can't add, it's most of what you probably are paying monthly now anyways. So if you can't add bank credit and credit cards and rent and utilities and all this types of credit, there's very few types of credit you could actually even add to your Dun & Bradstreet credit reports anyways, which is why this is not the preferred way to build business credit. Now, if you do have pretty good credit now, well, there's a way to shortcut the building credit process. And the nice thing about the shortcut is you can get up to $150,000 in unsecured financing, no doc. You get 0% rates for 6 to 18 months, and you can get approved even as a startup business. Now, this comes in the form of 5 business credit cards / lines. I say that because these are basically business credit line and credit card hybrid programs. They have the benefit of credit cards where you get 0% for 6 to 18 months. They also have the benefit of credit lines because you could take all the cash out. If you get approved for $100,000, you could take $100,000 out in physical cash and do so at 0%. So it's a fantastic way to get money to fund your business even as a startup. And these accounts report to the business credit reporting agencies. So not only can you get up to $100,000 in financing at 0% and get the cash out, but you're building your business credit at the same time. You're adding 5 or more trade lines or accounts reporting on your credit report is what's referred to as a trade line. So you're getting 5 or more trade lines on your business credit reports and getting access to a bunch of money you can use to grow the business. Okay, and this gives you 5 high limit business credit accounts on your credit reports. Now with this option, you do need pretty good credit. You do need to provide an actual personal guarantee. But if you have a 680 FICO score or higher or a guarantor that has one, this is a great way to build business credit. If you don't, no worries. I'm going to show you option 3 where you can get approved with no consumer credit check. And again, here's a perfect example of a client that obtained $61,400 in these unsecured business credit lines, which helped them grow their business and accomplish some goals that they were trying to accomplish. Again, this was a newer company, it was in a startup phase, and was still able to come in and get $61,000, even though the owner of the business had pretty small credit limits. They were still able to come in and get over $61,000 in financing and build their business credit, which helped them do 2 things: get the money they needed to start and grow, and also build their initial business credit at the same time. Now, the third option, and the easy option if you don't want to use a guarantee, you don't want a personal credit to build your initial business credit accounts, is through vendors. They're called starter vendors. And these guys will give you initial credit even if you have no business credit score now. They won't pull your social, and they report these credit accounts to the business credit reporting agencies. Now, they're not usually revolving accounts. They're usually offered on terms such as net 30, for example. And you'll need to find vendors that do report to the business credit reporting agencies and who will approve you even if you have no prior credit established. But once you have 5 of these type of accounts reporting, then you can start moving in to getting the next step of business credit, which are called revolving store credit accounts. So again, over 97% of vendors don't report to the business credit reporting agency, so you've got to work with some that do, and some that do report are Quill, Uline, which neither one of these require any kind of personal credit check or personal guarantee for approval. They sell things like office supplies and shipping supplies. You can even get a secured credit card if you have average credit or better through Wells Fargo. So there's definitely options for you to be able to come in and get your initial vendor credit accounts. And remember, you're going to need 5 of these accounts to move to the next step. Later in today's webinar, I'm going to show you how to access a ton of vendors to be able to get through this step so you can start getting revolving credit. Now, at this point, You need to have 5 accounts. Once you have 5 accounts reporting on your business credit reports, remember when we looked at these commercial credit reports earlier, we saw that by putting more credit on your reports, your limits start to get better when you pay the bill, or the amount of credit you're recommended continues to get higher. And if you pay the bills as agreed, you get good scores. And then those type of things are really the basis for you then to be able to come in and start accessing more kind of credit. And this credit is revolving credit. It's got the limits that are 10 to 100 times higher than consumer credit cards, as we learned earlier, comes right from SBA, and this is credit that doesn't require a guarantee or a credit check. Now, this includes most major stores. Most major retailers offer this kind of credit, okay? And you can also start to get fleet credit at this place too. Fleet credit is for auto vehicle repairs, auto maintenance, and fuel. Now, maybe you have a primary vehicle that you use to drive back and forth to work, or you use to be out in the field prospecting, or maybe you're in the transportation industry. Maybe you're a truck driver where you're spending $600 or more to fill up your gas tanks. Well, in these kind of examples, fleet credit becomes very, very valuable, especially when you actually have a fleet of vehicles that you're maintaining. So a lot of different credit you can start to obtain at this point. So if we look at one client, for example, that uses the finance suite, and we look at real approvals, you can get a feel for how this kind of credit can be obtained. We start to see limits of $2,000 to $5,000 at places like Sprint and Amazon and Exxon and fleet credit cards. The credit continues to grow where you start to get Visa cards you can use anywhere, like BJ's for $7,000. You can get gas cards at BP and Chevron and Sunoco. We see here $8,000 approvals and 10 grand at Lowe's and 12.5 at Apple. We start to see $15,000 approvals at places like Shell and Office Depot and Sunoco and Sears, and it continues to climb, as you see. Costco, $20,000, Best Buy, Dell, even Ford auto vehicle financing, which you'll be able to get to in the next step for $40,000. Here's even a roofing company that approved her for $75,000, and all this credit was obtained with no consumer credit check or personal guarantee. It's funny because in the interview with Christine, I said, did any of this require a personal credit check? And she said, no, they never even asked for my social. So as your business credit continues to grow and they pull a commercial credit report when they see 5, 10, 15, 20 trade lines, well, then they don't even start asking for your social because you have enough established business credit to be able to get approved. So this is the progression of business credit. You start getting $5,000 and $10,000 limits typically within the first 30 to 60 days of building business credit. And when you get to the end of building business credit, which it never really ends, you continue to grow your credit. But when you get to the top tier of business credit, which only takes about 4 to 6 months to get to, then you start to get the $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 plus individual limit account. So this is what happens when you have 5 accounts on your business credit reports. These are the type of credit accounts that you then are able to start getting approved for. Now, when you have 10 accounts on your business credit accounts, or on your business credit reports, then you can start to get cash credit. Cash credit's Visa cards, MasterCards, American Express cards you can use anywhere, not just a Staples credit card you can use at Staples, for example. You can also start getting auto vehicle financing here. So this is the point where Christine was able to come in and get $40,000 at places like Ford, and you'll even see more sources here as we progress through the webinar that will give you auto vehicle financing. And all of this credit can be obtained without the personal guarantee, without the personal credit check. So it's a matter of coming in and setting up that business credibly and getting set up with the reporting agencies, getting those 5 accounts, and then as you get 10 accounts, most types of business credit become available for you. And you can start to see here real approvals that are business credit approvals that are some of the ones that we've just been talking about. $12,000, $10,000. Here's one for $22,000, the Chase Inc. credit card. $15,000. We just had another client, by the way, get approved for a $20,000 Chase Inc. credit card the other day as well. And that Chase credit card didn't require a personal guarantee, didn't require a personal credit check as much of the credit we've been talking about here so far. $15,000 at Citi, $10,000 at Chase, $8,000 Inc. card, a $7,000 credit card, $50,000 American Express credit card, $10,000 here at Bank of America. Here's a $24,000 American Express credit card, another $50,000 American Express credit card. So this gives you an idea of the value of building business credit. This is what it's really like to be able to build business credit, is you start getting into higher and higher limits, and that raises the amount of credit you're recommended for, and then that helps make it easier for you to get loans and credit credit lines as well. So let's look at Marlon here. Marlon, I was looking for a fast way to get money to grow my consumer credit business. After failing to get approved for loans with several banks, I discovered the Finance Suite. After getting initial vendor counts, I continued applying and getting all types of credit. Now have over 100 business credit cards in my wallets, totaling over $1 million in total available credit. I have fleet credit that I use for auto repairs and fuel. I have cash credit cards with most major banks, including Bank of America and Wells Fargo. I secured almost all this credit without a personal credit check and without a personal guarantee. And I've been able to get loans with many sources, including PayPal and Cabbage, with low rates and loan amounts over 100 grand. So first of all, anytime we talk about testimonials, I like to give you a disclaimer because the Federal Trade Commission prefers that I do, to say that, look, all results aren't typical. Okay, everybody gets different results. The results you will get when building business credit is based on you and the credit you apply for. Marlon uses a lot of credit, so he's constantly applying for a lot of different kind of credit and loans. Being able to get as much credit and loans as he's been able to get, he's expanded. He's now in more than, I think, 3 to 5 industries he's in, running all different kind of businesses because he has the capital to be able to do so. So if you're somebody that's not going to apply for a lot of credit, you're not going to get those stacks of credit cards that you see there in his hands that he's been able to get. So the results will vary based on how much credit you're actually applying for. But it goes to show you what's really possible. And you could see here that these aren't just words somebody says, but you could see multiple images of him holding up literally stacks of credit cards that he's been able to get following the exact same steps. So what I want to do now is segue. I want to show you the easiest way to get business credit and loans all in one place, because we talked about that in this webinar. We're also going to talk about how you can get loans, how you can get credit lines, how you can access all these different types of capital. And I also want to show you the fastest and easiest way to build business credit, a way where you could literally take years of business credit building and condense it down into only months. So let's jump in. So what you're looking at right here is called the Finance Suite. This is the same system that in those testimonials we saw from the samples and from Marlon, they talked about how they used this to be able to get to a point where they were lendable and also to build their business credit. So let's dive in. So let's talk a little bit more about the fastest way to build business credit. And then what we're going to do is we're going to talk a little bit more about how to get loans, credit lines with rates of less than 5%, even when you can't qualify at your own bank. So when we talk about building business credit, you can see here that this is a 7-step system that we break it down to. And we talked about how you can start qualifying for more different types of credit or tiers of credit based on how many accounts you have on your business credit report. So we're going to take a look at those tiers. We're also going to take a look at a lot of the things that I referenced earlier that I would show you later in the webinar. So again, the very first thing you start doing when you build business credit is you set up that business credibly. You can see here the Finance Suite makes this really simple to do in a step-by-step process. So I wanted to show you this because this is how we help customers build business credit. This is how we take what normally takes somebody on their own years to accomplish if they're able to build business credit at all, and it condenses it down into only months, giving you the fastest way to actually obtain business credit for your business. And again, here in just a few minutes, we'll dive in and talk more about how to get credit lines and loans as well. So this is a customized user experience. If you already have a business name, you're able to simply enter yes that you have a business name and move on to the next step. But if you don't, well, then we give you everything you need to actually be able to set up your business name or check it for compliance or credibility. First of all, you can come in here and see that everything is done with short videos. They give you short training that are usually just a matter of a few minutes as you progress. You're able to come in here and access Secretary of State records for your state. You're able to come in here and access high-risk industries. So you're able to make sure that you know the industries that are high risk to avoid those type of names. This helps you avoid paying a company to set up your business name. Now, if you want to pay a company, well, then we've even got a resources section with a company that we vetted that we recommend can help you. But again, with the Finance Suite, it helps you avoid that because you have all the training you need to go through and set up every aspect of your business credibly. Now, it's important to note that we don't expect you to do this on your own. You can simply come here and click chat, and you're able to actually work with our business advisors that will help you through the process. You can contact them by phone. You can contact them by email if you're using the Finance Suite. You can also chat, and then they're reaching out to you. They'll typically reach out to you 5 times the first 5 days. They'll help you through this step. They'll help you avoid pitfalls before you fall into them, and this helps you avoid the time lapse that so many people experience because they're they're making mistakes that cost them tremendous amounts of time. It's how you get the fastest results. So they'll help you by reaching out to you. You'll also be able to reach out to them. And it's also important to note that you can change the entire experience as you navigate through by changing it to Spanish. Everything along the way will convert to Spanish. Even the videos themselves can have a closed caption where you can simply add Spanish. So everything in this finance suite, literally in one click, can be converted over from English to Spanish and back just by selecting this. So let's go back to English here and let's navigate through. So after we're basically in this step one, we're setting up that business credibly. We're coming in, we're setting up your business name and your business entity. We're coming in and making sure that your address meets compliance requirements along the way, and your phone number is set up correctly, your website and email. Now remember, we talked about 411 costing $360 a year from list yourself. It's even more if you're using services like Yext, etc. Well, right here, if you want your phone number to get listed for 411, you can simply put in here that yes, you do want your phone number to be listed. Enter the phone number details that you want to be listed, and it's automatically done for you. This saves you $360 a year because it's actually paid for you. So this gives you the 411 number right away that you need to start building business credit without having to wait months or maybe even sometimes years for it to organically be picked up at places like Google, Bing, etc. We help you set up your EIN, get your business licenses. We teach you what you need to know about your business bank account, even a little bit about your bank rating. A lot of people don't know that you actually have 3 types of credit. You have consumer credit, you have commercial credit or business credit, and you also have a bank credit. The bank scoring system, the banking system has its own credit score that determines if you get loans. We talk a little bit about that as well as coming in and the information being congruent. So we talked about this, how the information must be congruent on all your documents. Well, in this step, we're going through, even with short video training and teaching you. This is a 43-second video, so it doesn't take a lot of time to get the essential details that you need to get. And this really is important because once you set up your business credibly one time, you never need to do it again. You know that you meet those lender and credit issuer requirements so you can come in and get approved as you progress. Now, as we talked about in step 2, we're now establishing getting set up with the business credit reporting agencies. Now, at first, you're going to want to do a free check to see if Experian, Equifax, and Dun & Bradstreet even know you exist, because as we've seen, if they do know you exist, they can easily give you a failing credit score just because they know you exist, and even if you have no credit. So the Finance Suite makes it easy for you to do a free search with all 3 to see if you're actually set up with the reporting agencies now, so you'll know if you have credit established without actually having to come in and be able to pay to figure that out. So with each reporting agency, you're able to come in and do a free search with Equifax, Experian, and Dun & Bradstreet. You're also able to come in here and get your free DUNS number and get set up with credit with Dun & Bradstreet as well. Now remember, Dun & Bradstreet, you can get a free DUNS number, but they'll try to charge you $1,500 or more for access to their DUNS number and credit profile activation and credit builder. Well, I'm going to show you how to get around that today by putting accounts on your Dun & Bradstreet and Equifax and Experian, and in doing so, that will activate your credit profile, as I'll teach you in another step here. And as well, you don't need to spend this $1,500 because in this step, you're able to get your DUNS number for free as well. You're able to set up your DUNS number, do your free search with all 3 reporting agencies to get set up. Now, once you've done so, then we talk about the importance of using vendor credit. Well, in this step, you're able to come in and start getting vendor credit. As a matter of fact, we have the largest supply of sources where you can actually get approved for to get credit for your initial vendors to establish your initial business credit reports. Remember, finding access to vendors is one of the hardest things to be able to do, and in the Finance Suite, you're able to access more than enough vendors to be able to get that handful of accounts that you need to get to build your business credit. Now, the other great part about it is that we actually list the underwriting guidelines for every source. This is something you can't find online. It's unpublished information. We have relationships with all of the revolving sources, all revolving credit accounts that are in here. All vendors list the actual underwriting guidelines of what it takes to qualify. This is very, very, very important because, again, the goal here is to get you approved. If you apply for an account and you get denied, then what happens is it could take you months to figure out what you need to do to get approved, and that's months of time that you don't want to spend and we don't want you to spend either. So we make it very easy for you to know you're going to get approved because in step 1, we set up that business credibly, so we know you meet a lot of the credit issuer standards before you apply. And we're also putting these in color. These would all be grayed out if you couldn't get approved, but since they're in color, it indicates, yes, you're okay now to move forward and apply. And then we even list the underwriting guidelines for every source. So for example, example here with Quill, you need to spend $50 or more for the account to report. Well, if you're trying to build business credit on your own and you don't know that, and you probably wouldn't if you're doing it on your own, you might spend $30 at Quill. Well, Quill reports 90 days every quarter. They don't report every month like a lot of the credit issuers in here we will show you do report monthly. So you have multiple problems here. You can report for Quill, spend $30 and it not report. You don't know why. Maybe you wait a month, maybe you wait a month and a half, 2 months, then you call Quill and say, why isn't my account reporting? And they say, well, it takes 90 days to report. So you say, no problem, I'll continue to wait. Then you wait a total of 90 days, it still doesn't report, and you find out it's because you only spent $30 and you needed to spend 50. These are the kind of pitfalls and problems that almost everyone runs into when they build business credit. And in that example, you just wasted 90 days of time to get one account, whereas the Finance Suite eliminates that because you know it takes 90 days for this one to report, so maybe you'll skip it and choose another one. And maybe you come in and see this $50 and you know instantly that you need to spend 50. So now, because you have these underwriting guidelines, you know exactly what you need to do to get approved. You can only apply for ones that you know you'll get approved for, and you can do the things that needs to be done to make sure that you actually get approved. So this really becomes invaluable as you build your business credit, because this is the key to taking years of business credit building and condensing it down into only months. Now, after you come in here and you get some accounts in this step to build your initial business credit, then the next thing is to start accessing your business credit reports. Now, your business credit reports are available through Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian Commercial. And in this step, in step 4, you'll be able to set up credit monitoring with all 3 of the actual reporting agencies. So you're able to come in here, get set up with Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian. Now, a Finance Suite has the absolute most affordable way for you to ever be able to monitor business credit, and you have to. Because as you build business credit, you remember, as we talked about, the key to building business credit is how many trade lines you have. So for example, if you want to come here to round 2 to get access to more revolving credit, well, then you need to have 6 accounts reporting. If you want to move to the next tier, you have to have 10 accounts reporting. So you need to see how many accounts you have reporting on your business credit reports. So because of this, it's absolutely building your business credit becomes an absolute must, or monitoring your business credit becomes a must, because you need to see how many accounts are on your business credit reports. Here's the problem. Credit monitoring is not cheap through the reporting agencies themselves. Dun & Bradstreet alone is $159 a month. Experian is $50 a month, or actually about $49. Equifax is about $20. You don't really need to worry about Equifax because not a lot of credit issuers report to them or use them for actual, or use them to be able to determine an approval, but you do definitely want to monitor Experian and Dun & Bradstreet. Well, if you go to Experian and Dun & Bradstreet directly, you're going to spend about $210 a month for credit monitoring. But we actually have an easy way. By clicking credit monitoring here, we can connect you where you can actually come in and get access to your Experian and Dun & Bradstreet credit reports for only $24 a month for both. You get full access to Experian and Dun & Bradstreet for $24 a month. That's less than a few $100s a year that you're able to come in and spend and get your actual business credit reports. So this saves you $2,200 every single year, because if you go through the reporting agencies directly, you're going to spend upwards of $2,500 a year. With this, it's only $24 a month, so for a few $100, you're able to get full details with Experian and D&B. You're able to see a score summary. You're able to come in and see factors affecting your score. You're able to see how derogatory items affect your score, and how credit utilization affects your score, and your payment trends, and everything to do with your actual credit scores, you're able to track. You're able to actually access your credit reports as well to see your business information. Factors influencing your score, summary data here. Public records like tax liens and UCC filings for loans that you filed, and see all the information on the trade lines that you have, so you'll be able to see accounts reporting on your business credit reports and know that you're then able to move on to the next tier of building business credit. Now, you can do the same thing with Dun & Bradstreet as well. You can see your Paydex score. You can see the factors that affect your score, the credit utilization. You can see your company detail. You can see your payment statuses. You can also come in and get your actual reports to see the business information, the summary data, public records and UCC filings, all the way down to actually seeing your trade lines, the high credit limit that you've used, the balances you have, the date reported, how your payments look on those accounts. So you can access all of your report data through our NAV integration with Dun & Bradstreet and with Experian for cheaper than you can get it anywhere else at only $24 a month. So that actually makes it really easy for you to come in and save a lot of money as you're building your business credit because you don't need to pay for the expensive credit monitoring. Now in step 4, we're also helping you access your business credit reports, or learn how to navigate and read your business credit reports. Look, commercial credit reports are very different than consumer credit reports. So for example, with commercial credit reports, you're going to find multiple scores on them, not just one score. With commercial credit reports, you're not going to see a credit issuer's name. You'll see a category. So instead of seeing staples, you'll see office supplies. So you need to know the differences in how commercial credit reports work. The more you understand how your scores and reports work, the easier they are to control, the easier it is for you to obtain more and more credit. So as we continue through the steps of the finance suite, you'll see that any credit that you're going to want to access is available right here. Staples, Lowe's, Valvoline fleet credit cards, Amazon, AutoZone, Macy's. Again, most major retailers offer this kind of business credit, and we continue this same structure of telling you where the company reports, where the account reports to, the reporting agencies reports to. This is a big deal because the accounts that you have on your business credit report include the total amongst all reporting agencies. So let me give you an example. If you need 10 accounts to move on to the next step of business credit building, and you get this Amazon account, this would count as 2 because it reports to D&B and Equifax. So knowing the actual reporting agencies that each account reports to is invaluable. Having the information, a one click to simply apply, knowing exactly what it takes or what you need to do to qualify, the underwriting guidelines of how to get approved without the personal guarantee. All of that's available for you on every source in the actual finance suite. We actually have a data team that this is all they do, is they go around, they work with companies and be able to get the data and formulate relationships so we can get you access to MasterCards and fleet credit cards and places, budget and gas cards at places like Exxon and Conoco and on and on and on, Office Depot and Staples. And as you continue to get more and more credit, then more credit becomes available for you. You're able to access industrial supply type credit and Tractor Supply and Shell and Home Depot and Walmart credit cards and Sears, and just about every major retailer offers some kind of business credit account. You can see I could just keep scrolling and scrolling, and it's all available as you move through these tiers. So it's easy and affordable to monitor your credit, to see the trade lines on your credit report. As you continue to grow, you're able to get credit at places like Dell and Apple for computers, and Ally Financing, car financing, and Ford for auto vehicle financing, Visa cards and MasterCards, as you can see here, fleet credit cards. You're able to get Sam's Club and all different kinds of credit as you progress through the steps. Now, there's a lot of credit that maybe doesn't report to the reporting agencies, but they'll still give you credit based on your business credit quality. Places like AT&T for phone service, or places like Ford for auto vehicle financing, PayPal, where you can actually come in and get loans, as Marlon had said in his testimonial, more phone lines at places like T-Mobile or printing, or places like Fundbox that give credit lines less than 2% or 1% interest in cases, or places like Apple or Best Buy. So you can just see, we can just scroll and scroll and scroll. The bottom line is the credit at most major retailers that will offer you credit based on business credit quality or report to the business credit reporting agencies and will also approve you based on business credit quality are all here. And all this credit's available without a personal guarantee, without a personal credit check. And again, we tell you what the underwriting guidelines are, who they report to, everything you need to know to actually come in and be successful. We even give you a funding rate so you can see the kind of credit limits that you can get on some of these accounts as well. So everything you need to build your business credit, to navigate the process and save money at the same time is right here in the finance suite. You don't need to spend the $1,500 to $2,000 that you're going to spend at D&B, because in step 3, we're getting you the credit accounts that report to D&B to activate your credit profile. In step 2, you're getting access to your DUNS number, so that helps you not spend the $1,500 to $2,000. We're helping you not spend the $2,500 a year that you need to spend on credit monitoring, because by accessing your business credit reports, you're able to actually come in here and be able to get your business credit reports without actually needing to come in and spend that $2,500 a year. You can get it for as little as $24 a month. I shouldn't say as little as, that is the actual investment. It's $24 a month to get access to the credit reports that you need. We're getting your phone number listed with 411 without paying for it. So just accessing the finance suite can save you thousands and thousands of dollars that you don't need to pay on your own, and you get a simple system that breaks it down step by step to navigate through the business credit building process. And on top of that, you're also able to work with our advising team hand in hand through chat, through email, through phone, where you're able to reach out to them and they're able to hold your hand, walk you through the process as well. Now, on top of that, we've also talked about business financing, and we haven't dove in yet to the easiest way to get credit lines and loans. Well, look, business financing at banks is very difficult to obtain because you need to have a bunch of collateral. You need to have really good credit. You need to have consistent cash flow and tax returns and P&L statements and all these things. So what the Finance Suite does is it takes all these different types of alternative lenders and pools them together in one place. Every legitimate type of business funding program that exists is in the Finance Suite, and it's offered through thousands of different lenders. Well, if you want to go out and get a loan, you're not going to have any idea on what kind of program to look for or what kind of lender to look for. Well, you don't need to. The Finance Suite actually pulls all this together, whereas when you're entering information as you're building your business credit, we will determine all the loan products and credit lines that you qualify for. You'll be contacted by our finance team, which consists of loan processors that help expedite the results of getting loans and credit lines, and finance officers. And your finance officer will work with you hand in hand to build a business blueprint or a funding blueprint that will determine all the money you can get right now and all the money that you can actually get into the future. So this is the key to success. Even if you are able to go to one source and get one loan, you may not know that you also could have got two other credit lines as well as that loan. Well, we fix that problem with the Finance Suite because the finance officer is able to sit with you, develop the finance blueprint, and say, hey, look, based on everything I have, you can qualify for unsecured financing, you can qualify for revenue financing as well, and there's private investors that would like to get you money. So by you being able to access all legitimate funding programs through thousands of lenders in one place, then it gives you access to more money because you can oftentimes qualify for multiple funding programs. And you're also able to get financing at the best terms because our finance officers will come in and will actually know the right lender to be able to get you with to get you approved. They will navigate and work with the lender one-on-one to go through the process to get you approved. This means a lot to you because, for example, we often see people come to us that went to the same lender and got denied. Then they come to us, we go to that lender and get them approved. Why is that? Because we have relationships with these lenders. We fund thousands and thousands of different loans with them. So because we place so many loans, we have relationships to get exceptions when individuals typically can't get exceptions, and we're also able to usually get more money and even better terms because we get volume discounts because we're placing so many loans with them, and we pass those discounts right on to you. So think about it like this. If you needed money tomorrow, where would you go to get it? Well, once you have access to the Finance Suite, you never, ever in your business have to worry about that. All you'd ever want to do is just click chat, type an email, or give a call to your finance officer, tell them what you need. They develop your finance blueprint. They go to work to get the money for you at the best terms. They negotiate. They see the funding all the way through from beginning to end until the money's in your bank account. And this is available as long as you need access to finance officers to be able to do that for you. And they also develop the finance blueprint for the future. They may say, hey, look, you almost qualify for unsecured financing. Your score is a 670. All you need is a 680. Here's some tips. Here's even a referral that can work with you to help you get the 680 score you need. And by the way, when you jump from 670 to 680, that could open up 100,000 in available financing for you. So not only will they tell you all the money you can get now, they'll work with you hand in hand, one-on-one, to help you qualify for even more money by making some changes, by knowing that things like tax returns and having tax returns that even show a profit of any kind open up options like private investors, for example. By knowing that if you have certain scores or maybe one or two items off your credit report getting fixed, you can qualify qualify for unsecured financing, or maybe you're just short of being able to qualify for financing, for example, through revenue financing, and we help work with you to understand what you need to do to actually get approved. So this helps you get all access to all the money you can get now and set you up to get even more money in the future. So the key to getting financing is to having some kind of lendable strength. So if you want to know, look, if I get access to this, can I get a loan? Can I get a credit line? Well, it's really based on what we call the 3C of lending formula. And it means cash flow, credit, or collateral. Do you have one of those three? If you have a 680 FICO score or a guarantor, a family member, a friend, a colleague, somebody that wants to invest in your business that does have a 680 score, well then that opens up that program where you can get up to $150,000 in unsecured financing. Maybe your strength is that you have consistent revenue. Well then you can come in here and qualify for revenue financing, for merchant cash advances, for private equity financing, for a lot of different kinds of credit lines based solely on your revenue. We even have a credit line that can give you up to $100,000. The approval takes 24 hours and you get your money within 48 hours. This option, revenue financing itself, will fund you in 72 hours or less with just a quick bank statement review, just to make sure you manage your bank account responsibly. So again, just based on the fact that you have revenue of $100,000 or $120,000 or more a year can open up financing options for you based on revenue. Or maybe you have collateral. Maybe you have vehicles that you own. Maybe you have commercial real estate. Maybe you want to flip residential property and use the residential property as your collateral. Maybe you have equipment that you already own that you want to use as collateral. Or maybe you're a startup that wants to buy equipment. Or maybe you've been in business a year or so and you want to lease equipment. All that financing is available. Maybe you have stocks, bonds, 401ks, things like that. Well, those can be used as collateral to borrow against and get 401k and securities-based financing. And with this kind of financing, you could, for example, borrow as 100% against what's in your 401k, or you could borrow as much as 90%, or excuse me, get a credit line for as much as 90% of the value of your stocks. And these interest rates are 5% or less with this kind of program. And if you're using stocks as collateral, for example, well, you don't even have to sell the stocks. You still keep them invested where they are. You still earn the interest you're earning on the stocks. The only difference is you're pledging it as collateral. If you default on the loan, they take your stocks. If you don't default on the loan, well, the stocks still stay in play just like they have been. And you can use a family member, a friend, a colleague, a potential investor. You can use their stocks, their bonds, their inventory, their equipment. So if you have some kind of collateral, you can become lendable as well and get interest rates of 5% or less, regardless of cash flow, regardless of credit quality. If you have the 680 FICO, you can get approved regardless of cash flow, regardless of collateral. You can get approved even as a startup for up to 150 grand. So if you have revenue, consistent revenue, well, you can get up to $500,000 in financing based on your revenue alone without even getting a credit check with some lenders. And you can also get credit lines with that program as well, and you don't need collateral. So if you have a strength, if you have credit, you don't need cash flow or collateral. If you have collateral, you don't need cash flow or credit. If you have revenue or you have cash flow, you don't need collateral or credit. So the Finance Suite helps get you access to all legitimate funding programs in one place through thousands of different lenders, which really gives you access to the absolute most amount of money and helps you do so at the best terms. Now, one other cool thing that the Finance Suite does is it helps you get an ongoing valuation for your business. And this is part of the special that we actually are going to show you as part of this webinar. You're going to get access to this. Not everybody has access to this, but you're going to learn how to be able to access this quickly just based on what you're able to access through this webinar. So through our partnership with BizEquity, you can actually come in and type in some basic information about your business and basically get an ongoing idea of what your business is worth. So here, I'll show you how this works. By entering some information into our actual calculator here, you're able to enter information about your business, your income, your assets, your liabilities, and you'll get an ongoing estimate of your business's value. So you can see how this works. As we continue to enter information here into our evaluator, we're actually getting an ongoing estimate of the value of our business. So this means at any given time, and without spending hundreds or thousands of dollars that are usually charged for you to get a real valuation of your business, you're able to come in here, enter information at any given time, navigate through the steps, and get an estimate of what your business is really worth. So maybe you want to check this every month. Maybe you want to check it every quarter, every year. Whenever you want to know how much your business is worth, you're able to quickly determine how much it is without without paying any extra money to do so. Now, don't get me wrong. If you finish all the steps, you're able to even pay for a 29-page business report that gives you all kinds of information of where you compare to others in your industry, et cetera, et cetera. And that does have a cost of less than a few $100, still cheaper than you spend for any business valuation. But you don't need to pay a dime to get an estimate of what your business is worth. Just by entering the information through the steps, you'll continue to populate and calculate here an estimate of business value, so at any given time you know exactly what your business is worth. So as you've just seen, the Finance Suite really is the easiest way for you to be able to get loans and business credit for your business. It ties together two very important aspects of getting capital: the ability to build business credit step by step, and also the ability for you to obtain loans and credit lines. So here's an example of how it actually helps. So Dr. Brandon is a client of ours that originally approached us to get $417,000 to pay off a tax lien and was in the process of closing his practice. Now, with credit issues, no collateral, a lot of banks would deny him. And through multiple rounds of funding, he was able to get the money to pay off the IRS that he needed, expand his practice, literally open up a second practice, and even make a run for public office. Now, to date, he's got over $1.5 million in funding, but he did it through multiple rounds of funding and different types of funding: unsecured financing, revenue lending, and private investor term loan. So this is something you just cannot do at a normal lender. When you go to a normal lender only usually offers one type of loan program, maybe two. Well, with our Finance Suite, we actually access all legitimate funding programs. So in this case, to get him the money he needed, we were able to get him the unsecured financing that you looked at, where you can get up to 150 grand or even more if you're adding business partners in there. Revenue lending loans, we were able to get multiple of those, even a private investor term loan, to go from saving somebody that was almost going to go out of business because they had a debt they needed to pay, to paying off that debt, to getting enough money to expand the practice and being able to qualify for even more financing as he continued to grow. So the Finance Suite really is the ultimate solution for you to get business credit and loans for your business, because after all, you're probably watching this webinar on your computer, phone, or tablet because you want the easiest and fastest way to get money to grow. And you probably have already struggled to get the money and credit you need, and you're looking for a simple solution. And hopefully in doing so, what I've shown you today makes a lot of sense. A lot of people come to us, and in both testimonials we saw earlier from Thelma and Marlon, they said the same thing. I went to my bank and I was denied. Then I went through the Finance Suite and discovered in step one exactly why I was denied. I did, for example, we do 4 address searches, 4 different types of searches, and we typically find in almost all cases that the search fails or the results fail for the business owner, and that's the reason that they end up getting denied by loans. So by digging out those things, we help set up that lendable foundation, and then we continue to help you get the business credit and the financing that you need to grow. So why is this a great fit for you? Well, you can get business credit for your business that's not linked to your social through the top-selling business credit system. Over 10,000 people have used this system to build business credit. So it obviously works really, really well because we're able to take the combined experience with them and help make it simpler and simpler for you to be able to succeed. You're also getting access to funding for your business to start and grow, either money that you cannot get at your conventional bank, and you're able to do so, as you've seen, in English or in Spanish. Okay, the cutting-edge technology that you saw helps you meet those credibility requirements before you apply. These are things that your accountant, your attorney, your banker won't tell you about. We're setting up your business name correctly to avoid being high risk. We're helping you get your entity set up and your EIN. We're setting up your address credibility. We're setting up your phone for you. We're getting you listed with 411, saving you that $360. We're helping you with your website and your email address and your online business listings and your licensing. In the PowerPoint slide, I only talked about some of the things that are important to credibility. In the actual Finance Suite, as you really dig into step one, you'll discover all of these things and more that we walk through to make sure that you're set up correctly. Even set up your business bank account and your merchant account as well. Okay, so get set up with all 3 reporting agencies. We're helping you get set up with all 3. Instead of paying $1,500 or $2,000 to Dun & Bradstreet, and in doing so still need to build credit with the other 2, we're helping you get set up and credit profiles activated with all 3, with Dun & Bradstreet, Equifax, and Experian. And You don't need to pay for that DUNS number. You don't need to pay for that credit profile activation. So it saves you that possible cost that you may incur if you get on the phone with Dun & Bradstreet. We're also helping you fix inaccuracies with all 3 reporting agencies. That's something I didn't even show you that you have the ability to do in step 4 of the finance suite, is actually fix inaccuracies. By clicking one button, you get connected to the reporting agencies to fix inaccuracies with any of the 3. We're giving you the largest supply of starter vendor, including exclusive sources. What this means is, since vendors are so hard to find, we create them. We work hand in hand with companies and we help them get reported to the reporting agencies. So then they have the ability to offer an awesome product and service you want and need, and they report, and we put those into the finance suite. Well, those are ones you're not going to find in forums or videos online or anywhere else, because we built them. We helped work with them to get reported. Then we put them in the finance suite, and the only place you can even access those sources that you'll be able to know they build business credit is through the finance suite. And again, we're helping you get starter vendors that report to all 3 reporting agencies. You're getting that huge selection of revolving store credit, which you saw with Underwriting Guidelines, the Staples, the Costco, the Best Buy, the Sprint and Sears and Sunoco and Costco and Exxon and Shell and Apple and Dell and all the Pitney Bowes, AutoZone, almost every major retailer, even Macy's offers business credit, and it's all available. We're getting you the hard to find cash credit sources. Most people that build business credit don't even know where to get Visa cards and MasterCards. We're giving you access to those. We're even giving you fleet credit to get auto vehicle repairs and fuel and maintenance, and even get auto vehicle financing, where you can finance auto vehicles in your business name without the guarantee and credit check. And again, none of this, as I mentioned, requires a guarantee or credit check to be able to get approved. You're getting the cash flow financing options, where it's just based on your cash flow. No consumer credit requirements with these kind of loans and credit lines. No collateral requirements. We got you asset-based financing if you have collateral or some kind of asset for you or a guarantor that has it. And we even talked about how you can get interest rates lower than 2% with programs like account receivable financing if you have account receivables as actual collateral. Or we even have financing as low as 0.5% for every week the money is outstanding. That's actually based on your revenue, having consistent revenue of $100,000. So if you have equipment or inventory or purchase orders or account receivables or stocks or bonds or 401ks or IRAs or commercial real estate, or maybe commercial vehicles you own, or a book of business if you're an insurance agent, or even if you want to get financing to flip residential properties, it's all available through the finance suite. The unsecured financing, where you're getting 0% financing up to 150 grand with credit cash out capability, where you could physically take cash out and make those credit lines at 0%. Private money, alternative SBA loans, venture capital. This is financing that's much easier to get than SBA, but again, you still get the long terms. You still get 5, 10, 20 plus year terms and interest rates lower than 8%. All that financing is available through the finance suite as well. And you're even able to get term loans and lines of credit, and we even have credit lines that are available with no credit check. We've got a great source that often approves people for 30 to 100 grand. They do a quick check of your bank account or your online bank account or your accounting software and give you an instant approval, and you fund within 48 hours without even having a credit check. We've got multiple programs where you can get credit lines regardless of consumer credit. So if you're getting started today or as part of this webinar, then we've got a big discount and special bonus. So we're not going to talk specifically about pricing. What we're going to do is I'm going to want you to speak directly and specifically to the actual representative that got you access to this webinar to learn more. But I will talk to you a little bit more about the special bonuses, and we'll customize payments to make this work. This will be significantly cheaper than you building business credit on your own, because you won't have to pay for the 411. You won't end up spending $2,500 every year for credit monitoring and spending thousands of dollars for things to get your credit profiles activated that you don't need to. And we'll work with you to even make sure that this works within your budget as well. And when you enroll, you get full access to everything. So if you do make payments, then the minute you make the first payment, you'll get access to everything, which moves the risk from you to us, because we're just that sure that you're going to love this, that this is going to make a lot of sense for you. So again, it's easy to get started. You just need to follow up with your representative who gave you the link to this special webinar. And once you do and you get started and you complete your order, you will immediately receive a login email with your login credentials to the finance suite. And again, again, this finance suite is mobile friendly. You could use it on any mobile device, making it really easy for you, even on the fly, to work on building your business credit. And again, there's also some bonuses that I want to talk to you about as well. First, we're going to spend 30 minutes with you on your initial phone call to answer any questions you have, especially about business credit building and obtaining loans. If you have questions on loans, we'll get you with the finance officer to get those questions answered. Any questions on setting up your business, setting up your entity, setting up your address, setting up your business, or getting access to your business credit reports, getting your free check with the business credit reporting agencies, any of those things will help you do on the initial call. We even want to go through step one entirely with you on that initial call, helping you get past that step and get even closer to getting credit very, very quickly. On bonus two, we're giving you that credit monitoring that we just released with Dun & Bradstreet and Experian for $24 monthly. That's $24 a month. And as part of enrolling as part of the special, everybody doesn't have access to this, but you will have access. That means it's less than $300 a year for you to build or to access credit monitoring, whereas the credit reporting agencies will charge you $2,500 for the same thing you're getting for $288 through this actual webinar special. So you'll be one of the exclusive clients that actually has access to credit monitoring. And as I mentioned, that valuation isn't available for all clients either. You're getting the ongoing business valuation. So anytime you want to know how much your business is worth, you can find out without paying any money to do so. And if you look to see how much it costs to get a valuation done for your business, you'll often see that it's at least $600. It's oftentimes thousands of dollars. So this alone, credit monitoring, saves you $2,200 a year, this bonus. And the business valuation gives you, for less than, say for free, you're able to get something that costs about $600 or more. So you're getting a ton of extra cool bonuses as well. So to recap, 24/7 access to your own finance suite that's mobile friendly. You can use it anywhere on any mobile device. Concierge business advisors and full support from our team to help you through the process. Free DUNS number and credit profile activation with D&B, Equifax, and Experian, so you don't have to incur that cost. Free Experian Smart Business Access. I didn't even show you this, where you can even access those snapshots to see how many trade lines you have with Experian without paying for them. The largest supply of vendor credit accounts. The massive selection of revolving accounts that we look through. The $150,000 into unsecured financing if you can qualify for that program. The finance officers and the team that will help you through that process. Getting listed with 411, which saves you $360 a year. The hard to find cash and Visa and MasterCard credit sources. We help you fix the credit with all three reporting agencies. We help you get the fleet credit without the personal guarantee. Auto vehicle financing in your business name as well. You're able to get credit monitoring for only $24 a month, which saves you $2,200 annually. Cash flow, credit-based financing with low interest rates, giving you the most access to money for your business. We're giving you that coaching call to work with you to help you get on the right track quickly to get fast results. We're giving you access to that a lot of people don't have access to at this point, to get credit monitoring for only $24, saving you $2,200 a year. And you're also getting that bonus of business valuations whenever you like to see how much your business is worth. So all you need to do at this point is get with the representative that gave you the link to this special webinar. And in doing so, we will help you take years of business credit building and condense it to only months. And on top of that, you're also going to be able to access all different types of capital. Look, maybe you have cash flow, credit, or collateral now and can get approved. Maybe you don't. But even if you don't, we'll work with you to develop a finance blueprint, a plan to work with you hand in hand to get you access to the most amount of money in the near future. And in a lot of cases, you may very well qualify for loans and credit lines right now, even though you think you may not or have already tried and been denied in the past. So the Finance Suite is the most comprehensive financial solution in the world today. It's the only platform that combines the ability to help you build business credit for your EIN that's not linked to your social, credit you can obtain even if you can't get a bank loan, and if you can get a bank loan, credit that's crucial to helping you get approved and get approved for the most amount of money at the best terms. And it also combines that with your ability to get financing with every legitimate kind of funding program that's out there today, offered through thousands of lenders, all in one place, combining awesome technology that helps make it easy for you to navigate through the process, whether you're doing it in front of a computer or a mobile device, as well as work with our advising team and our finance team hand in hand that will help you through the process of building your business credit and through the process of getting financing. So we'd love to talk with you more. Now that you've seen this, get with the representative that gave you the link to this special webinar so we can help you get access to your own finance suite. And keep in mind, we usually will offer you options to make sure it's affordable for you to get started, and it will still be much more affordable than doing this on your own, because you'll never be able to access all the lenders and funding programs in one place like you can here. And when it comes to business credit building, you'll spend thousands of dollars more to build your own business credit because of all the things that you get a discount or free through the finance suite that you would end up incurring those expenses if you don't have access. So get with your representative that gave you access to this webinar to learn more and get started. And remember, if you're getting started quickly, you get access to those special bonuses as well. So you can even do things like check the evaluation of your business ongoing and access credit monitoring, as well as spend a lot of time with our advisor team to get started on the right foot and to get started quickly, because that's our goal, to help you get the fastest and easiest access to money to grow your business. So we'd love to talk with you more. Make sure you follow up with your representative that gave you the link to this webinar to learn more and to get started.